give you some accurate spots here as soon as I can get some lanes for you. They are absolutely charging down the course. Again, these 7-minute centers are keeping us on our toes here. Very, very quickly coming down the course one after another. So here we go. As soon as we can see, again, we will give you the placings as we are in the thick of the third 500, a most exciting 500 for us spectators, not for us athletes.
Yeah, and this is a great venue for watching from the beach. It's rare that there is just a nice sandy beach to watch the last 500 meters. And we're angled here on the beach where we can actually see most of the race as it develops. One of the benefits of a straight course, as opposed to the head races during the fall season, which have a lot of twists and turns, so you're not able to see the whole race from one vantage point. So we can see the whole thing. It's just that due to the angle and previously the sun glare, we weren't really able to see much of the start. But now we can see kind of pretty much what's happening from about the halfway point down. We've got our drone in the sky, and it appears like a really close race for first, honestly, folks. This is turning into quite the barn burner.
Perfect. So we have, looks like lanes 2 and 4. That is Holy Names and Green Lake. Green Lake stroked by Piper George, and Holy Names stroked by Leah Henkin. Again, leading their crews. They know that they are neck and neck right now through the 500. So again, we'll see the last few hundred meters here. Which one of these crews decides to throw the kitchen sink at the other first? But squished in the middle is Sammamish, still connected bow to stern. Do not overlook Sammamish, but right now it looks like we are looking at Holy Names really making a charge at lane 4. Green Lake stroked by Piper George and her crew here trying to hold on to that first place position. This is going to be a heck of a race coming into the red buoys here.
Yeah, it looks like Green Lake is starting to walk away. They have found a really quick sprint. They're up at about 38, maybe 40 strokes per minute now.
Well, we're about to find out here. I'm going to get that for you because this is really getting exciting here. So we're at about a 40 here.
Okay.
We're at about a 40.
Yeah, that's a really good looking 40 too from Green Lake. They're walking every stroke. They're opening up water. Still some contact with Holy Names. Holy Names has about a deck overlap. But wow, Green Lake.
It's lane 4, Green Lake.
Green Lake is
have to give it to him.
This sprint right now.
Beautiful
really,
front wheel drive. Look at this bow seat here. She is going, I am going to be the first woman across the finish line here, and no one is taking that from me.
Wow, that bow seat was rowing so aggressively. That was powerful.
Right, followed by lanes 2 and 3. That is Holy Names and Sammamish.
Well
Top
done
3
to
finishers.
them.
Green Lake, Holy Names, Sammamish coming in 4th.
And it looks like Rose City is going to get 4th. Yeah, I think that's Rose City. So Rose City got their national qualification. Well done, Rose City.
And there you go, rounding out.
I think Inglemore just missed out in 5th place there, just crossing the line. And then I think Mount Baker rounded out the pack there, just finishing.
That's right. Lane 1, stroked by Cassandra Ainsworth. Very well done to all of those crews. Such a close race. We are looking here at our times on the screen. Again, make sure that you don't just take our word for it, that you go to time-team.com. But we have to give that first place punch card to Green Lake.
Yeah, and in a 7:03 for a 2V, that's pretty impressive, I have to say. And especially in a slight crosswind condition here today, that's a very impressive finish. Well done, Green Lake. And we are almost an hour away now from our lunch break. So we've about an hour left of racing before we're going to break for the midday feast, and our next race just took off. All right, here we go, folks. We are in the women's 2v8B final, and I think Whitney's about to give us the boats. Who we got cooking on this one?
Oh boy, do we have some boats cooking.
Oh boy.
In lane 3, Lakeside. Lane 4, Everett. And lane 5, Bainbridge Island. And what a race this is shaping out to be between Lakeside and Everett?
Yep, Lakeside and Everett,
correctly? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, unfortunately, no bucket rigs in this race, but that's okay. I think our drone lost interest due to the lack of bucket rigs. So or batteries. Never mind. I think it's batteries, not buckets. Oh no, rain! Oh boy.
All right, so we've had just a little bit of rain at the start, which means our drone is making a break for it here, but we'll do the best we can without a drone. You mentioned a bucket rig, though. I would love, if you don't mind, to talk a little bit about the bucket rig and tell me what the purpose of that is, because when you look at them, you see different formations. In the 8s and the 4s, there are different ways to rig a quote-unquote bucket.
Yeah.
What's the benefit of putting a bucket together?
Yeah, it's interesting, and there are schools of thought that vary from reasonable to absolutely absurd on this point. So I'm going to try to give you a brief span as our drone comes back to us. But basically, sometimes there might be power application differentials, and sometimes it is a factor of wattage, sometimes it's height, but sometimes you basically have somebody that can only row one side that's going to need to be shifted in the lineup so that they're not either messing with the course of the boat or so that they can propel the boat more effectively from a different place. And sometimes that requires doubling up the folks that are sitting right next to each other to have the same side. Typically, most boats have alternating port, starboard rigging. But sometimes you might have a port, starboard. Sometimes you might have what is called the battleship, where you have like the bow fore all starboard and the stern fore all port. I've also seen a couple very interesting MIT rigs. Yeah, MIT seems to really enjoy doing a lot of interesting bucket rigging, and I love them for that.
No surprise there, the
right?
engineers,
I
right?
I know, always seeking optimization.
Exactly. One thing I like to kind of think about for a bucket rig too is the power curves. And a lot of times we want athletes to match up on power curves, which means we're applying power throughout the stroke at the same points of the stroke. So we move the boat straight. So we
Absolutely.
go straight.
Yeah.
So really what it comes down to is power application throughout the stroke, from toes to heels to quads to glutes, all the way to topping off with that finish as we bring the hands in. So we want that nice, long, even power curve all the way through, and that's so crucial. So sometimes when you have to put those oarsmen on the same side, or oarswomen on the same side, just to match up power and get the boat a little bit straighter, that is what a coach will do to kind of even out the power there. So.
Yeah. And your commentary team has a very interesting perspective on this, because Whitney, sitting next to me, has a lot of the technical and the coxswain experiences that go into the strategy of our sport and the equipment and really kind of figuring out how best to optimize each stroke and each rower. Whereas I am just a big dumb Neanderthal, and you just put me in a boat and tell me to work hard and to see red, and that's all I want to do. I'm just like really all about this dichotomy between the hard work and just the really dumb muscles that I represent perhaps on this broadcast.
That's my favorite type of athlete. You're hired.
And the strategic, cunning, thoughtful, technical side of the sport that is represented by Whitney and all the coxswains and coaches here today. But on behalf of the Gorilla Knuckle Dragging crew, I'm only too happy to bring that perspective to the mic.
Exactly. Well, you could not have said it better yourself. Consider yourself hired for any crew. Anytime if you're ready to fire up that brain cell and get it going down the course
Just
for
the
me.
one. Just the one brain
That's
cell.
all it takes. That's all I need from you. Put stick in water and push really hard.
Perfect.
And as we come through the last 500 here, we have a much better view of these crews now. Our apologies again for having to get our drone out of a little bit of a rainy situation there. We are looking at...
I think Everett is in the lead still, and they've been opening up that distance as we watch them carry into they're in the final 250 here.
Absolutely. You are right about that. Those red buoys just calling their name, bringing them down the chute in first place here.
Yeah, Lakeside was knocking on the door for a moment, but I think that they just weren't able to cultivate the momentum early or often enough to get it going. They were making some charges when we had them on screen earlier, and I thought it was going to be a little bit of a closer bout. They left the blocks just in tandem, almost in lockstep, stroke for stroke. But also, I think Bainbridge has been spat out the back. Bainbridge seems to be about about 100 meters back there,
Yeah,
even though they're not on the picture.
You are right about that. And look at this, Everett Coxon here just urging her crew on. And that stroke seat, Morgan Avery looking behind her at her competition, knowing that they are in that first place position as they bring up the rate here to just put the cherry on top of a beautiful performance here in the B final of the women's 2v8. So phenomenal job to Everett right there.
Great job to that Everett crew. I spoke with their coach, Casey, who unfortunately couldn't make it this weekend, but she had some words last week for her rowers, and she was really excited about this group. She said that they've come a long way throughout the season, and Casey's a very positive coach for us, so I was stoked to get to have some words with her, but she was just effusive about her praise of this crew. And so congrats to that Everett 2v8 winning that B final. And congrats to...